Welcome to the Angry White Dad Podcast, where intelligence reigns supreme.
So before we get to you talking your stuff, I want to do a segment that I like to do with my guests. It's Sean's Mount Rushmores. The first guest I had, Mark McNally, he's a comedian. He made a joke on Facebook and Twitter about how you don't know that there wasn't supposed to be a fifth president on there. They didn't even finish Abraham Lincoln's ear. And I looked into it, and he's correct. They never finished his ear. So there's a portion of the Mount Rushmore is not complete. So you can't, like, people that are like, it's only four for a Mount Rushmore. So if you do a Mount Rushmore and say 5, they get all like crazy about it. It's like, well, you can't tell me it was only supposed to be 4. Like, that's what the documents say, but you might only say that because they never end up finishing it. That's all they got funding for. And they're like, okay, we'll try and get funding for a 5th one or whatever like that. So that's where my Mount Rushmore is 5. So I do 5. I've done hip hop. I've done pop punk. And with yourself, I reached out. And what genre did we decide on, Tom?
So we decided on metalcore.
Nice.
But I deviated slightly. I just went
That's
for like
okay. I break the rules on Out of Bounds with Joe, so I let my guests break the rules a little.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I said you could do it however you want. 5 doesn't have to be in order. Mine's going to have a little bit of a format to it. They tend to. I usually do like at least one Canadian, at least one underground. And so that's what I've done in the last 2, yeah. So this one, I'll let you go first as the guest. Who was your first band on Tom's Mount Rushmore?
So these are my top 5 ultimate bands that I will forever love, listen to for the rest of my life. Definitely go on there first is A Day to Remember.
Oh, yes.
I have the Homesick album cover tattooed on my chest.
Nice.
I love them that much.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
A Day to Remember is, I've got them listed as post-hardcore. They're in my post-hardcore category. I've got like all these different documents going for different Mount Rushmores, all the different genres. Some bands cross over. A Day to Remember, I put them as post-hardcore. They have some metalcore to them. I think they're excellent too. I heard someone, I can't remember, they said basically metal newfound glory.
Oh, I really like that. I love Newfound Glory.
I love Newfound Glory too. They were on my pop punk Mount Rushmore.
Good.
As one of my OGs. They were like one of the first bands that got me into pop punk. So, and I saw them live. My first ever punk concert. But yeah, so when I heard that, I was like, I'm remembering that. I'm saying that every time I talk about Day to Remember with somebody, especially a fan.
But obviously their new album, everyone is just shitting all over it. But I think it's fucking phenomenal. It's just very different. You know, like Bring Me the Horizon, for example.
Yes.
Have changed so much. Like they have gone all over the place and no one's shitting all over them. So, you know, they're just running with the times. You can't stick to one aspect. You know, you've got to broaden the horizons. Because there's like some country-esque stuff on there. I love country music as well. But there's like some country-esque stuff on there as well, which I absolutely love. But they've got like original A Day to Remember, and then they've got brand new A Day to Remember. I love it. It's absolutely perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to make a note to ask you about a band because of like what you said, but I might not ask you about it because I hope I might ruin one of your Mount Rushmores. So I'll ask about them in a second. They're not on my Mount Rushmore, but they're like a band I really like. But so my first one, I'm going to go from Australia. I've got mine by region. I find Australia and UK have 2 of the best metalcore scenes in like hands down. America has like here and there, and that it's more generate like eras in America, but like right now, those two areas are going through like an absolute renaissance, like absolute domination of the metalcore scene. And I'm going the Amity Affliction.
Oh, what a shout!
I got into them a few years back because I did Google. I have like over 200 CDs. I stopped buying CDs because I just have no room. I don't even have enough room to display my 200 CDs. I've got like a 150 thing cart, and then I've got like a bin of CDs.
Fantastic. Absolutely amazing.
And then I've got records and everything. But I used to listen to Google Play, like the music, Google Music, which is now YouTube Music. It sucks compared to Google Music. Google Music was way better. But it was like one of those playlists where they're like, I was listening to bands. I curated a playlist of what different things, bands that I searched for. And they were like, they recommended Enemy Affliction. I heard Open Letter, and I hit the like button, then I hit C band, play all.
Amazing.
And their new CD, like Drag the Lake, is so good.
So that's weirdly, I was going to say, have you listened to Drag the Lake? Because Drag the Lake is huge. I saw them in the start of last year.
Yeah.
They supported Beartooth.
Nice. Beartooth, nice.
Yeah, Beartooth, huge band. Love them as well. And their new record's fucking incredible. Amity Affliction.
Yeah, I forget. What's the one that's got This Could Be Heartbreak?
Tune.
That, like, I Bring the Weather With Me is probably my favorite song by them. I love those two videos, but I Bring the Weather With Me is just like when they like have the choral, like the chorus group singing, and then it just goes silent, and then it just like hits the solo, and like I'm getting chills just talking about it right now. Like, I'm just like, I love that. It's like a band that's on my list, like Coheed and Cambria. They're so good. And the one album where they've got that like 7-minute song at the beginning, and they have the exact same thing where it's like a like choral part, and then it like goes like to silent, and then it like breaks out this solo. And I just love when bands do that. And I love the two singers in Amity Affliction, the way that they work off of each other. Like it's like 2 points of view in that song. Like you have the friend singing about his friend, and then you have the friend from the grave singing. It's amazing.
They are amazing. Have you heard Pittsburgh by them?
Oh, I've heard everything. That album, that album that's off of Let the Ocean Take Me. Like, oh yes. My God, that album is like, that's my favorite album. I Bring the Weather With Me is my favorite song.
Okay. I think because Pittsburgh was the first song I heard by them in 2000, and I think it was 16. Because I saw them in 2016 at a festival here in Birmingham in England. And I saw them again, like I said, last year. But Pittsburgh was the first song I heard, and the first song that I just ever, and I love The Way Down as well.
Yeah, it's so good. I like Drag the Lake is really good. It's different.
Oh, that is an anthem.
But like that whole album's really different. But yeah, Drag the Lake is like, I love, like I play it in the shower, like singing it.
Yes. It's amazing.
Like all of it. So who's your second band?
So second band I'm going for is Bury Tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
They're a UK metalcore band. I interviewed their drummer, funnily enough, for my show about a month ago now. They are massive, from Southampton in the UK. They are absolutely huge now. They've had 6 albums, and it's just, again, that contrast of screaming and singing is just spot on. Trust me, if it is to Black Flame and then go from there, you're welcome.
Yes. I love finding out new metalcore bands. It's literally my favorite genre right now. It used to be punkcore, or no, it's metalcore. It's metalcore. It was I used to like punk metal, but now it's like evolved into metalcore, and I'm just like, it's like post-hardcore punk metal I love it. Screamo, that was what I got into, but it's just, I've grown into metalcore, just like the way, especially like a good like math rock band or something like that that really lays down like the tempo and everything like that while you're just like doing work, like you're editing, you're putting together like your website or something like that. You can just like listen to it doing like stats. Like I love listening to these bands while doing like schoolwork and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, listen to an Honourable Rain. Rain is in REIGN.
Okay.
And listen to Black Flame, and then just go nuts.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, I've got them pulled up here on Wikipedia, seeing what's that, and yeah, I'm gonna have to give them a listen.
Yeah, and you're welcome. They are. I have all of their albums on CD and vinyl because I love them that much. So getting to interview their drummer was just so incredible. Absolutely incredible. Loved every second of that.
All right. So my next band, like I said, the UK has an excellent scene as well. The UK was a little harder. I like a little more post-hardcore out of there, I found. But this band, Bullet for My Valentine.
Oh, okay.
I believe they're not out of Wales.
Yes,
are they?
They are.
They are.
Yes,
yeah.
they are.
And Funeral for a Friend is out of Wales too. Yeah.
Oh.
Like the UK post-hardcore metalcore, like that's how I got into metalcore, is the UK scene. Like you play like Funeral for a Friend, and then you play Bullet for My Valentine, and then you just get all these recommendations off of there, like Architects and like Bring Me the Horizon. I actually found their album A Good Season for a Suicide. Is that the name?
I'm not a massive Bullet fan, so I don't know.
I found it was like their deluxe edition at Goodwill for like $3 in pristine condition with the cover, like the cover sleeve and everything like that. I was just like, and I'd heard bits and pieces of them, but I was like, oh, I have to get this album. It's $3. Like it's just like you just gotta have to buy it. And it's a really good album. So, but I had to go with Bullet for My Valentine. Just Room 439. My sister years ago, like as I was getting into them, like a decade ago, my sister had a really bad breakup with a guy, like cheated on her, and she loves metalcore and screamo like myself, and I was like, listen to this song, and just listen to this song, and she was like, thank you so much. That just put to words exactly how I'm feeling right now. And it's just like all their songs do that. Like they're just so good. Let the Tears Fall.
Tears Don't Fall.
Tears Don't Fall. Like that's such a good song with the acoustic and the electric, and just I love them so much. They're so good.
I'm not a massive fan, but I do love The Last Fight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's I like a lot of these bands are like older stuff, like Funeral for a Friend. I kind of stopped listening after Hours. Like Hours, I was like, okay, cool. You got some songs on here, but it's like the screaming went away. Like they got rid of the screaming. I was like, that was like one of the best parts.
Dude, Funeral are just phenomenal.
They're so good.
Album. They're actually back playing a festival here next year.
Oh, nice.
With the original lineup as well. It's like, cannot wait.
I might have to cue that up on YouTube Music.
Yeah.
Look up artist. Go to artist.
Because they are just sensational. But it's what I love most about music is how it just brings people together. How certain songs touch certain people in different ways and help people and save people's lives, that sort of thing. Which brings me on to band 3, because they've just announced a massive US tour, and I'm gutted because they're not playing over here. They are playing over here at a festival on the same day as Funeral at the Download Festival next year.
2 festivals at the same time. Jesus.
Well, it's the same festival, but it's like the 3 days.
3 days.
Download Festival, yeah. It's Rise Against.
Yeah. Rise Against. Oh, yes.
Dude. Oh, where do I fucking start? Where do I start? They are everything. I can't explain. Their new album's out at the start of June, and I'm just so excited. You have a band they're like a bit like like Deftones stuff. They always write music and write songs, and every single song off every single album is just incredible. Rise Against are one of those bands. One of those bands I've listened to since 2004, and I've just loved them ever since. And I always will love them. They're just everything. That Tim's voice is just chef's kiss.
Yeah,
chef's kiss. We're doing some of the just.
Yeah, I saw them live at my school at university. Yeah, they played, because I went to school in Waterloo, Ontario. Kitchener-Waterloo has a pretty good music scene,
Yeah.
like area, but like so for my freshman year for the Frosh Week, the musical act was Alexis on Fire, The Reason, and Closet Monster, and Blue Skies at War, I think, which is just a local band. But like Closet Monster, the bassist, played in Avril Lavigne's band at the beginning. He was the guy with the dreads.
Okay.
So they're like from Whitby. So they're like, and they're friends with Protest the Hero and that.
Oh yeah.
So, and the reason they got popular, but I love their old stuff. They're from Hamilton, Burlington. I'm from Burlington, and I grew up on that music scene, and like excellent music scene, like Finger 11, Silverstein.
Silverstein.
Yeah, so good. Like they didn't make my cut because they're more post-hardcore, but yeah, Silverstein I've seen in like with like 60 people in like a music hall that's used by like a tour band. Like they would have, so they put the band on the back rise of it, and then like you'd have on the back 2 rises, and then you'd have everybody on the floor area like moshing and stuff like right next to them. Like I saw Alexis on Fire at a YMCA, like literally like a room that you'd have like a meal in, like that they would have like a lunch thing for a camp. And it was like tiny. It was like 50 people there, like crammed together. And yeah, it was just like ridiculous. It was like Burlington was the best, like absolute best. That it totally got me into music. And Rise Against, I saw them in university. I think it was second year. They were supposed to play with Annie Flag.
Okay.
I worked at the bank at the mall nearby, and Annie Flag was actually doing a coat drive because it was wintertime. So they were at West 49, which is like the skate shop as our Hot Topic.
Okay, yeah.
And they were doing a coat drive. That as that's happening, like I look at it and I'm like, oh, I don't have a coat. Like I love to see them, but I'm going to see them. I've got tickets to go see them at the school. As that's happening, I think it's Just Insane. His sister's murdered. That was the day his sister was murdered.
Fuck.
So like the concert was like taking a long time to start, like to open, and Annie Flag was going to be the opener, and it was fucked up. Played, they were the opener, and then Annie Flag and Rise Against, and so like where it's taking forever, and literally like it's this like club on the top of a building with like a spiral staircase going down, and that's where you have to wait for like to get in, because the door is right at the top of the staircase to get into the club. So like everybody's waiting in the staircase, and then we find out like it starts trickling through, because this is like 2004, I want to say. So it's like kind of not everybody's got a cell phone, like, and stuff like Facebook's kind of started and stuff like that. So it's like it just kind of starts spreading throughout the club, like Annie Flag's not playing, Annie Flag's not playing, Annie Flag's not playing, Annie Flag's. And we're like, oh man, that sucks. And then you get home and you're like, oh shit, fuck. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So Rise Against, excellent choice, amazing choice.
I know they're not metalcore, but it's just one band.
Good. We'll go with it. I'll take it. So the next band, I'm going to go with my US band. I wanted to go Bless the Fall. I love Bless the Fall. They're really good.
Nice choice.
But I had to go with the band that really got me started into metalcore, like early on. They're the reason I don't have like Killswitch Engage on. I wasn't as big into Killswitch Engage, but their guitarist produced a band called Under Oath.
Oh,
and Under Oath, Chasing Safety is a great album, and that's like their last screamo, I would say, post-hardcore album. And then the next album, what's it called? This album, Define the Great Line. That album is my favorite album by far. It's what got me really into that band, because I liked their only Chasing Safety, but Define the Great Line, they worked with the guitar, I believe it's the guitarist from Killswitch Engage, Adam
D.
Yeah, Adam D. Dolkovich.
Yeah, I can't say his last name.
Yeah, but yeah, he got that, and he brought them back to their roots. And Spencer worked with like a screaming coach and got his guttural scream to like a metal scream. So that's where, and that album's just like it moves me every time. It's one of my top. It's one of the 5 albums I have to take to a desert island with me. Like if I ever get broken down to 5 albums, it's on there.
I think that'd be tough, dude. To pick 5 albums would be hard.
It's tough. I've got 5 albums. I've got like probably 7 that I'd pick, and it's all albums I listen to front to back, and there's no non-banger. There's like a song that you can kind of zone out on. Like in this one, it's the Russian one, where they've got like the Russian person speaking psalms and stuff like that. Like I'm not a Christian person, so I kind of zoned out on that stuff. But like it's just a good break for your ears to like the heaviness that's about to come. Like, oh, just I love that album so much.
I mean, Under Oath weren't a massive band for me again. I like certain songs. Like the Boy Rushed in Black and Red.
Oh yeah, Boy Brushed in Black and Red. Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable. And then I think is it Reinventing Your Exit as well.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah,
and
I think that's old singer too. I think. Or no,
they changed it. Yeah, I'm Under Oath again.
They had a singer. It was where's his name? Oh my God, band members is like a whole separate page for Under Oath.
Really? Fuck.
They've had a shit ton of like guitarists and bassists and stuff like that, and they had
page 1 of 91.
Dallas Taylor. Yeah, he did Reinventing Your Exit was one of his songs, but he was good. He's in Maylene and the Sons. Yeah, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. That's the band he's in now for that. But yeah, those are great songs by Under Oath. I freaking love them. They're so good.
Good band. In Motion off the latest album is pretty decent as well.
Yeah. It's real. It's funny because Malcolm Gladwell on one of his podcasts, he talks about how you basically kind of peak at 21 with your music. It's like you basically stop progressing into the type of music that you like to listen to. And I found that's kind of where I stopped gaining new music, because I have so much music that I was listening to already. But it's like the last like 6 years I've probably learned more, and some of these bands are like older bands that I just got into now and stuff like that.
Nice.
So who's your 4th band?
So I'm now going over to Australia.
Nice.
I'm going to Byron Bay in Australia, and I'm taking Parkway Drive.
They were on my list. Yeah.
They are. So in 2015, I was at Download Festival. I was watching Rise Against.
Yeah.
Just in absolute awe of how absolutely unbelievable they are. Loving it, losing my mind. Straight afterwards, it was Parkway Drive. I'd never heard of them. And I think they played, Carry On was first. And I was just like,
that's on my likes list.
I was just gawped like, who the fuck is this band? And why have I not heard of them before? And that was it. Fell in love with them immediately. And ever since then, just love Parkway Drive. Watched the documentary they released in 2020 that they put out on YouTube. So Atlas, Parkway Drive album Atlas is so fucking hard to get on vinyl. It's like £250. Oh. It's ridiculous. But I've got Aya, Reverence, and then Viva La Underdogs, which is obviously what the documentary is called, and I got the live vinyl for that as well. Nice. Just every song, you're like, fuck me, this band is amazing.
Yeah. No, they're really good.
Yeah. So I went back to Deep Blue and Horizons, and just incredible albums.
Yeah, they're a band I haven't listened to too much, but the stuff that I have is really good. They'll show up occasionally on the list, and I'm like, I've got on my likes list on YouTube Music probably close to 300 songs on there. So I was like, okay, I've got to start paring down here. This list takes like a couple hours to listen to. So
Phenomenal.
Carry On was one of those that I was like, yeah, I can't take this off.
No.
This is so good.
You can't. You literally, they're just again another band that you just like. I can't wait to hear what they're going to have next. Really.
Mhm. Yeah. So my fourth band, I'm going to go with the Canadian, and I'm going to cheat because I also wanted an underground category, but I'm going to mix those. I found Canada, metalcore in Canada isn't as long a list as you would think. It's more post-hardcore, more hardcore. Like the metalcore, like it's kind of, you either are post-hardcore or you're hardcore or you're metal. Like you don't do the metalcore. There's Misery Signals is half Canadian. It's half Canadian, half American. So I was like, yeah, well, I don't really listen to them too much. So I'm like, I'm not gonna throw them on for the sake. But a band, they have been playing more recently again. I got into them in high school, university, on Pure Volume. Do you remember that website, Pure Volume?
Yes, I do.
I found a million bands on there because you would just click the category that you wanted, and you'd see all these bands. Farewell to Freeway. They're from Guelph, near me in Ontario. I wouldn't expect too many people to hear about them, but they're an excellent melodic hardcore metalcore band. They have a keyboardist that they brought in. She was their merch girl back in the mid 2000s, and she just joined them on keyboard.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like they're really good. Their newer stuff is excellent. Some of their older stuff is like, yeah, they're in high school, you can tell. It's like you get the occasional song, so it's like, but now they've been around, since the early 2000s. They've been around. So
wow.
Yeah, so I want Silverstein, I've listened to forever as well, but they're post-hardcore. Like I said, if we did hardcore bands, you could go like DOA, Comeback Kids, Cancer Bats, Fucked Up, Grade. Like you can just rifle off a ton that I'd have a hard time paring it down to the ones that I like. And I got to give a shout out to Dead and Divine. Some of them went to my high school when I was in high school. They're a band that was signed to Silverstein's label, Verona Records. So they're just like, they're not together anymore, but got to shout out the local bands. The local scene was excellent.
I find that there's so many subgenres of genres now. It's so hard to differentiate who goes where.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is why I just went, well, I'll pick my favorite 5 bands ever, and then we'll just go from there. So I know I went for the metalcore, but like I'm into anything as long as it's not like death metal or stuff that's just like just you can't. I don't enjoy that. So I just think that there's so many subgenres now. It's like I said, it's really hard to be like, so they're just punk.
It's just so hard.
Yeah,
you're exactly right. Usually on Wikipedia it's not too bad. The people that curate and do, it's like you'll see, like right now I'm looking at Under Oath, and it's metalcore, post-hardcore, screamo, emo, Christian hardcore. But then when you like click on each album, it like a lot of their newer ones are like just metalcore. So it's like everybody's like, yeah, they used to be that, now they're just metalcore.
So
number 5.
My final band. I look like I could be in them. Not literally. They are from America. They are 4 Year Strong.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my days, boys. I got into 4 Year Strong when they released It Must Really Suck to Be in 4 Year Strong. I see them live a bunch of times. I went to Slam Dunk Festival in 2018, where they played, and I was walking to go to Nando's to get some dinner, and as I walked past, I was talking to my sister, and 4 Year Strong happened to walk past me, but I wasn't paying attention. So as they walked past, I was just chatting to her. I was like, looked up and just went, holy fuck. But it started to cross the road. I was like, no, because I wanted to talk to them. But still, absolutely amazing. Just another incredible band where, again, it's banger after banger after banger on every album. And then they released that acoustic album as well, which is just, some of you may like this, some of you won't. Phenomenal album.
So I got into them. I heard them on, I think it was Pure Volume. On their page, they had Dumpweed. It was a cover of Dumpweed by Blink-182. And that was back when they had their keyboardists. I freaking love their cover of Dumpweed. I have it on a hard drive in my house somewhere kicking around. I can't find it on YouTube Music, otherwise it'd be on there too.
I'm writing it down because I'm going to find that fucker.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. How did you feel when their keyboardist left?
So I didn't know they had one.
Yeah, it's like the first. They're more pop punk, I think. It's called easycore on Wikipedia. They call it.
Oh wow!
So it's
okay.
It's really like I like keyboards in my punk and metal a lot. Actually, I'm starting to find, and it was really good. It was so good. It's just like screaming, singing. If you look up a band called Karate Kid High School, they're like the epitome of what's called Nintendo core.
What?
Yes, it's like one of my favorite like niche genres, because you just like have these bands that it's like heavy keyboards, so like really synthy 8-bit sounds, but with like metal backing to it, and like screaming and singing. It's just it's so good. And yeah, Good News, Bad News is the song you want to listen to. It's the first song, and it's like, that one's so good. So before I get to my fifth band, the band I was going to ask, I thought you might have, because when you said you like country, Asking Alexandria. How do you feel about them? Yeah.
So when they first started out, when they're doing all the dancey, synthy stuff, loved it. They've had a couple of songs. Into the Fire recently is just absolutely unreal. And then Alone in the Room, but I've not really listened to them like proper album wise. I've only listened to them like via tracks they've released and stuff. So I believe they're from Manchester here in the UK. Yeah,
they're from the UK. I'm trying to think. I think it's Reckless and Relentless, their second album.
Second album, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite album by them. But some of the songs, like To the Stage, is just so phenomenal. How it's like a guy treating, like, the video's hilarious, like not hilarious, but like it's funny because it's like basically about a guy treating a girl like crap and then realizing that he's like destroyed her and like apologetic. In the video, it's like his like girlfriend that he meets at the bar like drugs him and like leaves him. Like she just like kills him. But it's like the song's about how he treated her like shit.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, "Oh my god, I treated her like shit." Like, so that's where they do that in the video. But it's actually like the second of like a 3-part like video series.
Okay.
From that album, they released like 3 videos in a row, and it was like that's the middle one, because it's basically like them going to a show, like going to play a show, and like so they have to like revive him in the 3rd video, and like because shit, we gotta get to the show, we gotta play, and like he's like dead, like dying. But yeah, I Asking Alexandria, I thought you might have them when you said you like country, because didn't the lead singer leave to do country?
Was that Danny Worsnop?
Yes.
I think he has done, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't he come back though?
It's mind-blowing with them, because when an album comes out, you go, "Oh, that's a new singer." Next album comes out, "Well, that's a new singer." The next album comes out, "That's another singer again. What the fuck is going on?" And then the next album is, "The singer's back now." What? It's like Ghost, the band Ghost.
Yeah.
They kill off their singers, don't they, after every album and bring out.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I remember reading about that in an AP.
And then they brought out this latest album. The singer's amazing. They've gone, "Oh shit, do we need? Should we actually get rid of him or?"
Yeah, cause I think Asking Alexandria is like basically Ben Bruce's love child. Like he's probably the most important part about them as a guitarist. And it's like bands like Panic at the Disco is hilarious, because it was actually like this Brendan Urie, the singer now. He's the only original member, but he was the last member to join the group before they took off. Like he wasn't part of them like coming up as a band.
Okay.
Because it was the guitarist, bassist, and drummer, and then the guitarist was gonna sing, but then they found Brendan Urie and they're like, "Yeah, he's a better singer. We should get him to sing."
Dude, I can't stand Panic.
I like their
can't
first
stand them.
album, but I was just like, after that, like in the way he kind of took over the band, I was like, yeah, I'm not really down with that.
Yeah, it's not, first album, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal, but then it just went downhill massively.
Yeah, so, and that, but my fifth band, it's a wild card. It's a toss-up between two bands that I've recently gotten into, and I had to make a decision.
Okay.
Do I go Australia, or do I go Sweden?
Oh.
I had to go Australia, but I got to shout out the Swedish band, Dead by April.
Oh, Dead by April are awesome.
Yes. They're a band that I found through YouTube Music. You know, here's your super mix based on your listening, and I was like, yep, adding a bunch of theirs, listen to everything they have, and I'm like, yep, that's amazing.
Their first album is sensational.
Yes, yeah. Their second album is amazing too. It's just like everything they do, they have such great stuff. But I couldn't put them on my Mount Rushmore. I had to go with Make Them Suffer out of Australia.
I've never heard of them.
Check them out. They are so good. They're from Perth. They're considered a deathcore band, but that's more of their original stuff. They brought in a female singer. They've had a couple female singers, but yeah, they're so good. Like, they're just the dichotomy that they get with, like, it's so heavy, and then it'll just be like this melancholy keyboard thing where the girl's singing, and then the guy like comes back in with the screaming, and the rhythms that they have are just phenomenal. I freaking love them. They're so good. They have so many good songs.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what's the best song that I'd have to recommend. You can pull it up on my YouTube Music here. I've got it.
Pen is in hand. I'm awaiting.
All right, we've got. What is it? Erase Me.
Okay.
Yeah. That's an amazing song, great video. And I'm trying to think. So I've got this band. Have you heard of Mice and Men?
Yes.
Yeah. I've got them in my honorable mentions as well. I've got them on my post-hardcore list. They're so good too. Of Mice and Men is absolutely phenomenal.
I need to check out their new album.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't checked that one out. Yeah, I've got that next to listen to. Because I love Second and Sebring off of their first album. Just such a phenomenal song. Just so powerful.
I think Real was the first song I heard by them.
Oh, The Real, yeah, that one's good. Yeah, and then That's Just Life. That's really good. Real, yeah. Repeating Apologies. That's amazing too. I love it. They're a really good band. I wish I got into them earlier when I used to go to shows. Now I live out in an area and it's not as easy to get to shows, and they're super expensive.
I mean, COVID obviously fucked it for you as well, but
even like I found that just like going to shows became so expensive. Like a lot of the bands that I grew up listening to, like in high school, was at Warped Tour. Like I would drive 2 hours north up to Barrie to Molson Park, and it was a huge like field, and they'd have like 10 stages. Like you'd have your two main stages, your two smaller stages, then you'd have the drive-through stage, the side one dummy stage, the like this fulcrum stage, and like you'd have all these tents and stuff like that. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. And then it got turned into a mall, and it sucks. And the only festival is like in Toronto. It's at a huge field, but it's expensive because you're in Toronto and you're gonna have to pay for parking. It's like
rubbish.
Yeah, it's the absolute worst. Like you guys do it up right in the UK with your festivals. Like absolutely love it. I think I'd have to drive to like a Chicago or a New York, like Randall Island, to go to something that's like your UK festivals anymore. Or I think Montreal does them up right as well.
So I get jealous because your gigs, like your just concerts, the shows you put on, you always get an amazing headliner with amazing support. Whereas we get like a massive headliner and then support, you like, why are they supporting? Or who are they? But going to the amateur, see Beartooth with the Amateur Affliction was so incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
It's so true because like you guys it's trying to fight into that North American market. Like really good bands from UK and Australia are opening for like bands that should be opening for them in North America because they're from North America. And it's like, Amity Affliction should probably be the headliner in this one. But it's like,
it's so true. But yeah, we always get. Like, I remember going to see A Day to Remember in 2008, supported by Bayside. I was like, what the fuck?
You don't like Bayside?
No. and Pierce the Veil as well. Pierce the Veil supported. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, come on. Pierce the Veil's good. Come on.
They've got some good songs, but I just thought it was a really random support act for such a huge band. I don't know. It was just, maybe I'm being snobby.
A Day to Remember is not actually that huge over here. Like if they're huge over there, like I wouldn't consider them huge in the sense of like some of the bands. Like I would consider like make the like a Family Affliction bigger than A Day to Remember.
Would
like,
you?
Well, and even just here we just don't have as many. Hold on, actually, I'm gonna play. It's just like I think there's so much competition, like and a lot of the record label bands, like the big label bands, take up a lot of oxygen in America. So they like overseas. Like I remember back in the day, like you'd hear bands like punk bands would be absolutely huge in Japan, like Less Than Jake. Probably their biggest crowds were in Japan and stuff like that, like where it's not that much music because they're competing with the Mad Caddies, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Flogging Molly, like this ska band, that ska band. Like ska bands were coming out of the works in the early 2000s, and they're just like, they'd go overseas and they'd have these huge shows, and like that happened with so many punk bands because like there's like A Day to Remember. There's like 1 million copies of A Day to Remember. A Day to Remember is like, you know, they're competing with Mice and Men that's been around forever, and like the hardcore bands, they can't really find their footing in America and stuff like that. And I think that's where they like go over to the UK and just get lapped up the way you guys do it. Like you guys probably think some of the bands that you think are huge are actually way bigger over there than they are here. Yeah,
probably, because that's just blown my mind. So
yeah, like A Day to Remember is probably like writing this big on your festival headline.
They're second to top.
Yeah, they're like near the bottom. They're like the big batch of like bands that are like Friday during the day, Saturday during the day. They're in there at our like hardcore punk festivals.
Wow,
it's crazy. Yeah, because you've got like Thursday, Glassjaw. Every time they say they're coming back, they just get top billing because it's Glassjaw. It's like they never play and stuff like that. Like, Taking Back Sunday and like all those bands. Like you've got the bands that probably aren't huge over there that are bigger over here. Like I think you guys are. That's where I said like your metalcore heart scene is huge over there. Like the post-hardcore metalcore scene is way bigger in the UK than it is in. It's more of a niche in North America, I find. So that's where I was like, you know, the list of UK Australian bands is way longer than Canadian and almost as long as American. And America's just got a history for it. But yeah, like because A Day to Remember, Atreyu's back. Like, A Day to Remember has no shot against Atreyu. Like they're opening for Atreyu.
Atreyu's new stuff now, because obviously Alex has left the band, is just amazing. The new song Catastrophe.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, dude, you need to get on it now. Right now.
Well, I've got my list of stuff. I'll add it to the YouTube.
So good.
Add to the queue.
It's like real Atreyu. That's like they're back, like with a full art. It's fucking phenomenal.
Nice. They're so good. I friggin' like in university, my roommate, quote unquote, bathmate, we call him, because we just shared a bathroom. We each had our own room and stuff.
Yeah,
and shared a bathroom. He had live, love, burn, die tattooed on his back from lip gloss and black.
Yeah.
So he's like, he told me, I was like, that's a sweet tattoo. And he's like, you don't know where it's from? I'm like, no. He's like, this band Atreyu. And I'm like, I've never heard of them. He's like, dude. And in our dorm, iTunes, if you gave permission, you could connect your iTunes to the dorm, and anybody in the dorm could download a song off of your iTunes. So like, I found so much stuff that way. Like, I was just like, oh, who's this band? I've heard their name, Seosin. Download.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like, I was like into them a year before their like album came out with Cove Reaver, because one of the guys across the hall was like, oh, you gotta check this band out, they're so good, but their singer, they're having problems with them, Anthony Green. He's like, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it was just so good.
Incredible, man. Absolutely amazing.
So those are some phenomenal lists. I love those lists. I love this music, metalcore, metal, hardcore, post-hardcore. I love it all. That's my jam. The Angry White Dad jam is that kind of music.